Earth was gone. A blue marble, now dust. The Exodus Ark, a metal coffin hurtling through space, carried the last of mankind. Their destination, planet X-91, a beacon of hope in the vast emptiness. Captain Bennington, grizzled and weary, addressed the weary passengers. "Men, we carry the last embers of humanity," his voice boomed. "Let us rebuild." But hope was a fragile thing, flickering like a candle in the void. The journey was long, punctuated by the silence of the lost Earth. The men, a motley crew of soldiers, scientists, and engineers, bore the weight of survival on their shoulders. John, a young engineer, stared out at the stars, his heart heavy. He carried the memory of his family, a fading photograph clutched in his hand. Their laughter echoed in his ears, a painful reminder of what was gone. Planet X-91 loomed, a desolate landscape of red dust and jagged mountains. The air, thin and metallic, stung their lungs. The sun, a malevolent red eye, beat down relentlessly. They set up a makeshift camp, a cluster of prefabricated shelters against the alien landscape. Days bled into weeks, filled with the back-breaking work of survival. Food was scarce, water even more so. Tensions simmered beneath the surface. The men, hardened by war and loss, found little solace in each other's company. Each man was an island, haunted by the ghosts of their past. John, however, found a semblance of camaraderie with Mark, a stoic soldier with a haunted look in his eyes. They spoke little, but the shared silence was a comfort in the face of their bleak existence. Hope, once a beacon, was now a fading ember, threatened by the winds of despair. The first disappearance came without warning. Private Miller, a burly man known for his booming laugh, vanished without a trace. One moment he was there, sharing a meager meal, the next, gone. His disappearance left a void, an unsettling silence where his laughter used to be. Searches were organized, but the planet yielded no answers. The red dust, like a silent conspirator, swallowed all traces of him. Unease settled over the camp. Whispers replaced laughter. The men, once united in their grief for Earth, now eyed each other with suspicion. John felt a chill crawl down his spine. The silence of space was one thing, but this silence, pregnant with fear, was something else entirely. The planet, once a beacon of hope, now felt like a predator, toying with its prey. More disappearances followed, each one chipped away at their fragile morale. Fear, like a virus, spread through the camp. The men, once hardened survivors, were reduced to shadows of their former selves. Sleep became a luxury, haunted by nightmares of the Earth's demise and the ever-present fear of being the next to vanish. The red dust, once a symbol of their new home, now seemed to whisper their names. John found himself increasingly drawn to Mark. They kept watch at night, their backs to each other, their eyes scanning the desolate landscape. The silence between them was no longer comforting, but thick with unspoken fear. "What do you think is taking them, Mark?" John finally asked one night, his voice barely a whisper. Mark, his face etched with worry, replied, "I don't know, John, but I don't think it's natural." Section 5. The Accusation. Captain Bennington, his face etched with worry and fatigue, called a meeting. The men, their faces drawn and haggard, gathered around him. "We can't go on like this," he said, his voice hoarse. "We're letting fear tear us apart." But his words fell on deaf ears. The fear was too deeply ingrained, the suspicion too great. It was then that Sergeant Thompson, a man known for his quick temper and even quicker accusations, pointed a finger at Mark. "He's the one!" he shouted. "I saw him sneaking out last night right before Smith disappeared." Mark, his face a mask of disbelief, started to protest, but the words caught in his throat. The seed of doubt, once planted, grew rapidly in the fertile ground of fear. John, torn between his loyalty to Mark and the growing suspicion gnawing at his own gut, felt a chill run down his spine. Was it possible? Could the monster in their midst be one of their own? Section 6. The Monster Within. The accusation shattered the fragile peace that remained. Reason and logic were swept aside by a tidal wave of fear and paranoia. The men, their eyes bloodshot with exhaustion and suspicion, turned on each other. Accusations flew like bullets, each one finding its mark in the hearts of men already pushed to the brink. Fights broke out, fueled by fear and desperation. The camp, once a symbol of hope, descended into chaos. John, horrified by the spectacle unfolding before him, tried to intervene, to reason with his comrades, but his words were lost in the cacophony of violence. He saw Mark, his back against a rock, fighting off a group of men, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and betrayal. John felt a surge of protectiveness for his friend, but he knew there was nothing he could do to stop the madness that had gripped them. Section 7. Dust to dust. The night exploded in a blinding flash. John, thrown back by the force of the blast, lay stunned amidst the wreckage of their camp. Coughing, he stumbled to his feet, his ears ringing. The air was thick with the smell of burnt flesh and ozone. He looked around, his heart pounding in his chest. Bodies lay strewn across the red dust, their faces frozen in grotesque masks of fear and agony. The camp, their last bastion of hope, was no more. John stumbled through the carnage, his mind reeling. He saw Captain Bennington's lifeless eyes staring up at the unforgiving sky, a testament to their collective failure. Then he saw Mark, his body riddled with wounds, a look of peace etched on his face. John sank to his knees, his throat constricting with grief and despair. He was alone, the last man on a dead planet, surrounded by the ghosts of his comrades. Section 8. The True Enemy. Days turned into weeks. John, haunted by the ghosts of his past and the horrors he had witnessed, wandered the desolate landscape like a wraith. Food and water were scarce, but hunger and thirst were distant echoes compared to the gnawing emptiness within him. He had survived the destruction of Earth, the treacherous journey through space, only to be defeated by the very thing that had kept them alive, fear. He had seen the monster, not in the shadows of the alien landscape, but in the eyes of his comrades. The monster wasn't something external, something lurking in the dust. It was something far more insidious, something that resided within the human heart. Fear, suspicion, paranoia. These were the true enemies, the ones that had poisoned their souls and driven them to madness. Section 9. Fear's Embrace. John collapsed beside a dried-up riverbed, his strength finally failing him. As the red sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the barren landscape, he closed his eyes, ready to embrace the oblivion that awaited him. He had failed, they had all failed, and in their failure, humanity had truly ceased to exist. The last ember of hope, flickering feebly in the vast darkness, finally sputtered and died. Fear, he realized, was more than just an emotion. It was a primal force, a darkness that lurked within them all, waiting for the opportunity to consume them. And in the end, it always did. John's last thought as the darkness closed in was a chilling whisper, "We brought the monster with us."